that's not fair. Because well, here's the reality of the matter: Nadal at 19 years old was clearly the second best player in the world. At
Mm,
19, he was clearly the second best player in the world,
yeah.
and had already had a major under his belt as he walked into the U.S. Open. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So the
Yeah.
comparison is not fair. And it's also not fair because of the juxtaposition of how we talk about how much these players have grown. It's like, well, Nadal could come into the game with a 105-mile-per-hour serve in 2002, 2003.
Right.
And still, you can't come in like that now. So it's like,
Yeah.
of course, Alcaraz is going to be more game ready. It's like, that's the way the game goes now.
Hmm.
If he comes in with a 105-mile-per-hour serve now, it's like, well, did
He's
you
going to
not
get
watch?
knocked off the court. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it got Nadal. It was getting Nadal knocked off the court in the hard courts early. This
Hmm.
is 15, 20 years ago that was happening. So of course it's not going to go on today. So the
No.
players are going to be more athletic and agile and stronger.
Yeah.
But to say that this kid is Nadal at 19, I'm like, whoa! I'm like, Nadal was second to the greatest player that we had ever seen.
Yeah. No.
At
He's not there yet, but
like, how about
he's one
this?
of the
Like,
only ones that I've seen in a very maybe ever that it's not unreasonable. Like it's a conversation at least. You're like, and
right.
probably not, but like still, his
No,
game is
no,
not Nadal's game either. Like
it's a fair conversation. He definitely doesn't have Nadal's forehand.
no.
I think he has a lot of his tenacity. I think it's his ability to forget that people are looking.
That's the thing that
He
is
forgets the way.
special for a 19-year-old kid.
Yeah, because Nadal was special at 19 about that too, except for like Nadal's forehand was special.
No.
It's like
And Nadal's
athletic,
forehand's always been special.
right? But his athletic ability and tenacity and stamina was always superior to everybody at 19.
Hmm.
It's like I don't know if he has anything that's superior to anybody because it's like, well, shit, I don't know if he's better than the 36-year-old version of Nadal when Nadal's healthy.
Hmm. I would have loved to see that match. Like,
Well,
and I
well,
don't know
here's
that
how.
we'll ever get to see it. That's the sad part. Like
Well,
that's
well, here's the thing about it. Like, even if you feel like, Nadal's my favorite player, I think he's the greatest of all time. I think a lot of the people, because of what Djokovic has done at the Australian Open and Wimbledon specifically Wimbledon, when you win Wimbledon, you get held in greater light. So
yeah.
Roger and Novak get held different than Nadal because of the enormous amount of times that they've won Wimbledon. And then you go look at how many times he's won the Australian. It's like, well, he's got hard courts and grass on lock. That's 15
Hmm.
of his 21.
Yep.
Actually, I'm sorry, 18, no,
I was gonna
19 of
say
his.
it's way more than that. He's won
Yeah,
Roland Garros twice, I think, right?
yeah, he's won two French.
Novak has, and Roger
So
did
it's
once.
so that's why when people say, "Well, Nadal's only won on clay," it's like, well, the other guys have only won on grass and the hard courts because they can't beat.
No, and he also hasn't just won on clay either.
Well, not now because he's got. Well, now that he has two Aussies, he's got six hard court majors. He's got four
Exactly.
and two, and so yeah, that's different. But they get held differently because they play on grass. But what was always special about him to me is that I don't care what anybody says. When Federer was the best player, there was never somebody that looked so great.
Hmm.
And so the fact that he could play with the guy that looked greater than everybody else is always what stuck out in my mind. It's like, well, that's the only guy that can play with Fed.
Yeah, at that point in the world,
At
yeah.
that point, it was like wasn't there like a 3 year stretch though where you only felt like Nadal could play with Federer? We don't feel this way about this kid, and so like that's not fair. We just watched him and Center go back and forth. Tiafoe just took a tiebreak off him.
Hmm.
It's like we just gotta
He's not there yet. No, he's
not
not a fully realized thing. He doesn't have the serve to just blow people off the court.
right.
That's the last piece.
Like, how about this? When Nadal won that French Open, we knew he was about to win a lot of majors and like soon. If he wins this US Open, I don't even know if he wins anything next year.
He might not.
You know,
It'll be interesting to see. Like he, he will have won if he wins the U.S. Open this time. He will have won not playing his best. Like the Alcaraz that I watched play in Miami and like before the grass court and before Roland Garros, like that early between
mhm,
Australia and
mhm,
the clay court season was like you were watching the Death Star. Like it was
mhm.
ridiculous.
No,
And he's playing well now, but he's not playing like that.
I think
That was like I can't miss.
the US Open, see, here's why Nadal has won the US Open four times on a
Hmm.
hard court as opposed to the Australian two times. The US Open is the war of attrition.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
the guy with stamina will win the war of attrition. It
And
seems
and
like
that's
the
what
guy.
Alcaraz just did to Tiafoe too. Like he like you were saying, he forgets. Like he lost the first set tiebreak, and the second set was like it hadn't even happened,
Yeah,
and it keeps on going. And to be able to do that at 19 is
yeah,
not unprecedented because we were talking about Rafa, but it is very rare.
yeah. The U.S. Open.
Like Djokovic can do it now, but he couldn't do it when he was 19.
Well,
It took him until he was like 26 or 27 to be able to do
it took him losing the Rafa, I believe, when he was 25 before he came back and
it.
won it for the first time. It was 26. Then he got in and was like, no, I got to make sure that I'm ready. Because people forget, Djokovic was on the verge of beating Nadal and Federer a couple of those early years at the
Hmm.
U.S. Open, and he literally ran out of gas because it
Yep.
was a war of attrition. You're at the end of the year, you're at the last major
Yep.
of the year. It's late, it's humid. You know what I'm saying? No,
Yeah.
it got to him. When he figured that out, is actually when he won that US Open, I'll never forget. I think it's 2020, it's either 2009 or 2010. Nadal beats him in the final, and Nadal literally says, like in the winning speech, he's like, "Don't worry, you're gonna be right back here next year and win probably." And then he came back the next. Then he won the
Yeah.
Australian. And then I
Yeah.
think he like lost to Federer at Wimbledon. He lost to Nadal at French. Then he
Yeah.
lost to Federer at Wimbledon. And then he won the U.S. Open. And then he started.
The being that guy
Then
again.
he started being that guy. But it was the U.S. Open where he really like it clicked off for him when he
Yeah.
lost to Nadal about what it took because he almost had Nadal, but he just ran out of gas and he's like, shit, I got to get my shit together for the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
So Alcaraz is showing that he's like Nadal in the sense that it might be that war of attrition that gets him. But that's the thing. It's like, well, what surface do you dominate on?
Hmm.
Because you're not gonna because you're not dominating. I don't think he can dominate center on grass with center's flat
No,
hand.
no, he's not a grass court player. He clearly I mean, he played okay on grass, but he was obviously trying to figure it out. Like he had
Nadal,
not played it much.
Nadal
Um,
be better at Wimbledon in his prime.
yeah. Well, I mean but that wasn't when he was 19 either. That was when he was like 24, 25, 20. Like, he was old,
Yeah,
not old, but like he had grown up
that's
a
still
little.
the greatest feat in tennis history to
Yeah,
me.
no. No, it's
Beating
to
prime.
me it's second. To me it's second after Serena winning the Australia Open while pregnant.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the
I'm thinking men's tennis. The whole having
yeah.
a baby in your body while you win a major thing is kind of
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
major.
I can't argue with that. And you guys, I mean, y'all people. I don't know if we're going to show this video part of the video or not, but like, I might cut it off and put it as like a separate thing. But the I'm a huge Federer fan. Like that's my guy, and you just you can't make the argument. I can't make the reasonable argument that he's better than Nadal. Like I can't. Like I think his game is more beautiful than anybody has ever played. But like
The
that
best
doesn't
game.
mean he's better though.
The best game. He has the best game.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful game to watch. I don't know if he it's funny with him now because of what Nadal's been able to do with his forehand and what Djokovic has been able to do with the return of
Hmm.
service. Like it literally stands out in your mind, Nadal's forehand, Djokovic's return of service.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because he's the only person that can take Nadal's forehand and return it.
Yeah.
Like consistently and punish him back with it. It's like, no, 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 I can take that and punish you with it. But that's the same way that, nobody could do anything like with anything Federer did until Nadal came
Right,
along.
exactly. They were, yeah. I mean,
They're so
Federer, if Nadal didn't exist, Federer would have had 35 majors. I mean, it would have been an absurd because he was the
yeah,
second best. He would have been the second best clay court. He was the second best clay court player for a long time too. And
until
then,
Djokovic became the second best clay court player. Yeah, for like 5 or 7 years, five to
yeah,
seven
so
years.
he
Yeah.
would have won at least some of those without Nadal. So
I think
it's
2000. When did Nadal first win? 2003.
three or four. Yeah, I think.
I think if it's 2003, I'd say he would like from 2003. I think Djokovic really didn't become the guy to 2011. So for about 8 years, he was probably second best clay court player, and he probably would have won at least half of those. I would say
Yeah,
if Nadal did
that's
this
what I'm
year.
saying. So
So at least the extra four just off the French. Yeah,
plus the Wimbledon ones that Nadal beat him at, and plus like he would have won all those too. So no, Alcaraz I love because there's joy in it. Like he's fun to watch, and he
I
is he's it's just a beautiful
I
thing.
like
And
I like what McEnroe said. You know what I really like about him? The
mm,
fact that he's so young and so good. He is making everybody better. Like
yeah,
that match. Zverev played, where he beat him at the French Open,
Yeah.
that's the best we've ever seen Zverev
And
play. And
that's the best Sasha Zverev has ever played. And he would
ever,
have, and I remain, and this is probably sacrilege, but he would have beaten Nadal if he didn't get hurt. I think that in that match.
that match was going. It was going. He had it.
Yeah.
Like how about this? How many times has Nadal been? We can literally count the times on two hands in our lives where Nadal has been at the French Open when it's been like he's in trouble.
Yeah. It's not
And
many.
and most of those times he's usually hurt or playing Djokovic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like
It's a very,
like
very short list.
that's
Yeah.
like that's like I
And he
think
still won most of them too.
I was about to say there's four times he was in trouble against Djokovic. He won like two of those, lost two of
Yeah.
those, hurt against Soderling.
Yeah.
Like maybe one time Fed had him worried for like a set or two.
Yeah.
And then there was like Wawrinka had him worried like
Yeah.
maybe one time. That's it.
It's a
So it's like the
short
way
list.
Zverev is playing, like no, that was about as good as you can play Rafa at the French. The way he was playing.
And he yeah. He was making the jump and Medvedev did last year.
Yeah,
That's not because of Alcaraz, but like but I've seen a bunch of guys make a jump because of him. I mean, Sinner
yeah,
has
yeah.
FAA is starting to. I mean, he's got all the tools. He needs to work on his consistency, but like he's
He's the
got the
dark.
tools. Yeah.
He's the
And
dark.
Tiafoe now has like there's
See, Tiafo needs more diversity. Like how about this? Tiafo needs what FAA has, that versatility and that
mhm.
diversity, that little bit of everything. Because you're right. The only thing FAA is missing is the consistency. Because I actually enjoy his all around game.
Oh, he's great fun to watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 All right, we can get to the music now.
Okay.
A little
This
tennis.
has been our US Open minute or
All
15
right,
minutes or
in a
whatever the
moment,
kids is. I don't know.
in a moment at the U.S. Open by Mirror Music.
Mm,
Sponsored to
yeah.
you by Wilson. We got balls.
Uh, this is going to be a punchy episode because it's been